see a conspiracy been fooling me when I watch TV. Their manufactured views all over the news. It's giving me the blues, and it's time to choose. Starting to wake up from the sleep from all the lies they spread to us so steep. But I will raise no more. Who are they fighting for? It isn't me. But now I see there is a new world order, but we're not invited. So much blood and murder from the drones unsighted. World War III is haunting me. I've got to find a way to save my family. The human race has lost its way. We put our trust in science, but it's us who pay. Used to be civilized, but we've been compromised. We're on a one-way train. We've got to break this chain. Starting to see that we should be free. The powers that be want a piece of me. Should I do what they say or tell them go away? What is the price for freedom? Cause it sure ain't free. The time has come to raise the bar. There'll be nowhere to hide if there's a third world war. So let your voice be heard and let your heart decide to stand and fight for freedom while you've still got time. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. To freedom while you still stand up. Stand up, stand up. Wake up, wake up. The time has come to fight. Wake up, wake up. Don't waste another night. What are you waiting for? Stand up, stand up. Oh, they're gonna soon be at your door.
And welcome to Raconteurs News on this Monday. It's Tuesday, sorry. It's the 9th of July 2019. I hope you had a good day and had a good weekend and stuff. Let me just flick a light on because I look a bit dark. There we go. Now I can see you better. I didn't hear that introduction music. I have no idea whether it came out or it didn't. I was having a look. I couldn't hear it. Things have just gone tits up just before we come on air. So we're just going to have to wing it and play it by ear. Big hello to everyone who's in chat room. We've got loads of good people in there. Catching Fire, Uni Black Sisters in there. Dave Iron, Super Leeds, Mandy Diamond, Media Mogul. Yeah, she's in there as well. Beware of Jews bearing gifts, according to Tony, who's in there. Anyway, good evening to my co-host as well. He's just getting back into the groove after his excursions away over in Thailand. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to hear you, AD. So how are you doing, mate? All right?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank God for that. Now, you piss off, dog. Go on. Hanging about me around here, just going tip-tap, 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 tip. What's up with here? Jesus Christ, dogs don't even know the place. Anyway, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just posting a quick link in the chat room. I've just put one in, and it's a YouTube, and it's called The Money Masters. I first watched this. God, it's got to be 20 years old, this thing. You can tell by the really shitty haircut, the guy who does it.
Says
it really explains... You what, sorry?
Does it?
Bit like me. Yeah, it really explains how money, even back before, well, it really started with Oliver Cromwell, but even right back then in the late 1600s, early 1700s, right up to that point, we'd use tally sticks, which was literally a piece of wood with a notch in it. And that was currency, and we didn't have any inflation for 750 years. And then as soon as the... well, basically, it was the Catholic Church decided that they would allow a little bit of interest on money lent, just to cover the costs of the lending. But of course, once that floodgate was open, Same with all of it, you know, thin end of the wedge, and boom, there you are. And then, of course, was it 1913? So that's like, you know, hundreds of years later, over 200 years later, they formed the Federal Reserve based on exactly the same corrupt banking system. So the link that I've just put in the chat room, if somebody can bump it and get it back again, it's like about 3.5 hours or something. It's the sort of thing you're going to watch in 10, 15-minute lumps when you're sat on the loo, if you're anything like me. Just sit and watch it on YouTube. And it's really good because it gives you some really interesting ways of understanding how the money system works. And the other one that I'm just about to put in the chat room is something I talk about a lot, which is the book by G. Edward Griffin, the Creature from Jekyll Island. The first hour audio of the audio book is a freebie on YouTube, and I bumped into that the other day as well. So I'm just gonna find that because I've actually sent it to a couple of friends in the past couple of days. So I'm just gonna grab this one as well. Hang on a minute, copy. Because as you all know, I'm really, really not techie at all.
No.
So if I just shove this one in as well, here we go. Paste that. And send that. Right, that's the second one. That second one is, I'm just going to type this in. The Creature from Jekyll, if I can remember how to spell it, Island. Apologies for any typos. I'm not going to check whether it's right or not. But they're the couple of links, and hopefully they'll help you find your way to the YouTube videos. And what I always say about the Creature from Jekyll Island is it's about 4 books in one. And if you got the audio book, and the way to get the audio book is join Audible on the 3 months trial, download the book, and then immediately cancel your subscription. You never have to pay for it. I think that's what I originally did, and I'm.
Oh, you're not suggesting that people pinch things, are you? No.
No,
Yeah.
I'm suggesting that the author will get paid, but Amazon, which is what Audible's through, will give you the copy. So G. Edward Griffin will still get his lump. That's what I'm suggesting. But as always, I don't give any advice. I just tell you what I think, and what I think is sometimes a complete load of bollocks. So, you know, make of it what you will, people. But if you want something that explains to you about money, they're the 2 ones that will help you. There are others that I've always spoke about before, but you know, there's the cartoony ones. But anyway, let's crack on. What we've been up to, pal? Because I know you've had your healthy bits. Oh, and I've been up to the hospital again today. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But what did you want to come on and talk about tonight, Jason? Anything?
Well, no, not really in particular. Not anything in particular. I want to keep people up to date with what's going on because, like I said last week, I've not really been booking guests because I don't know what sort of state I'm going to be in by the time it comes. You know, I'm in a lot of pain. I'm in a hell of a lot of pain. But so I didn't do a show last night. I'll probably do one after dark later on in the week. But next week we've got. It's actually somebody who approached me and wanted to come on, and so. He's a guy who is made a video, a documentary that's going to be released, released in September, I think. Oh, do you know my memory's absolutely fucking terrible? I don't know why I don't write shit down. But it's funnily enough, I saw a trailer for it yesterday, and it had got what's his face in it? Sanders. Neil Sanders. Oh, yeah. What can you remember what it says? Oh, let me find the fucker because it's doing my fucking head in.
You did send me a link to it earlier. Just hang on a minute. Although I can't remember what on.
I did, and I just can't get. I don't get any notifications on Facebook, so I don't know. But if somebody who'd he's got a video coming out in a documentary coming out. I'm going to find the name of it. Ada, you talk for a minute. Let me just find the name of it, so you know who the guy is.
Yeah, you sent me this link, so I'm going to try and post this. But I'm now on my phone, and before I was on my tablet, and I'm talking to you on a Chromebook. So, how many screens are we supposed to have?
Well, I've got two going on here, but I can't hear one of them because it's just so much going on with my mixer. Like all of a sudden, it just decides it's not going to do out, but it's going to fuck about 10 minutes before.
I'm going to try and put this in the chat room. Just hang on a minute. Do you know anybody would think this wasn't live, wouldn't they?
Well, I know.
They would think that we'd planned all this. And trust me, we haven't. So if you're in the chat room, I'm just about to. Here we go. I'm just about to post this, but this is on. Oh, hang on a minute. I need to. Now I'm listening to myself. Here we go. Chat publicly. Here we go. Paste.
Go on then. You chat publicly.
I'm not letting me paste. Oh God. Do you know I'm really bad at this? So come on, Jason. What's this young gentleman's name?
His name, he's got two names, and I can't. Oh, here we go. He's Alex William Smith. Is what? Here we go. There we go. It's called Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, feature conspiracy documentary presented by British hypnotist Jonathan Royal. I think that's his stage name, but I'm sure his real name's Alex. And it's produced by Brick in the Wall Media, and it launches early September, I believe. It's got. I saw Neil Sanders. I actually saw it yesterday, and then I saw the trailer yesterday, and then lo and behold, the guy's got in touch on the Facebook page and said he's wanting to get onto some radio shows and stuff, and so I've invited him on, and it's booked for Monday next week.
So you couldn't find a real one, so he's coming on here instead.
Well, that's right. It's been on a lot, you know. I think David Icke just tweeted out his trailer and that. So, you know,
I've just put the link into the trailer that you sent to me.
Cool.
In the chat room, so that's in there. So if somebody can kind of put a thingy on that, but they're the ones that we've got to watch this, so that'll keep you happy for the next week.
Well, yeah. So it's. Go on to that. He's going to be on next week, and he's going to be telling us all about his film, and we're going to be talking, especially with psychology and hypnosis and all that. I'm really interested in all that sort of stuff. So next week, hopefully, that's going to be on Monday, but hopefully on Tuesday we'll get a guest as well, because the following week I won't be available. I'm going to go in hospital on Monday or Tuesday next week, and I'm having an operation.
Don't worry, because what we'll do, we'll get you some data, and you can do a show from your bed.
Yeah, well, there's wireless in hospital, so but it just blocks. You have to, if you use it blocks YouTube and that, so staff aren't sat around watching YouTube and not curing people. So I can get a VPN, and I'll probably, but I think
I'll lend you my link to my VPN. You can nick that for a day.
But yeah, that's the long and short of it is. Yesterday I went to see a consultant. I had that scan last week. I went to see a consultant on Monday. I was supposed to be 16th of August, but they brought it forward because they wanted to get me in, and so 16th. That was on Monday, and today. Oh, that were only yesterday, weren't it? Monday. So I've done so much this week. I've been so busy, you know, and in pain. I feel like it should be end of week. It should be Friday already, but it isn't. But yeah, so I'm going in for a bypass on my leg, which hopefully will be successful. Obviously, with the APS, there's a larger risk involved, but we're getting to a point now that if they don't do something, then I'm going to be in danger of losing this leg as well, which we don't really want. Well, I don't want to happen anyway. I don't know. You're out there, probably don't give a fuck, but and I don't mean that nastily, but you know, I mean, why should you?
It will save you doing the impression of a snail wherever you go.
Well, yeah, that's what I'll be doing. So that's going to be next. That's on the 23rd, I think. I have my operation on the 24th. So on the Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to be in. So there'll be nothing then. Then a week later, hopefully, I'll be out of hospital. Even though I'm supposed to be in for a week. I mean, I was supposed to be in for 8 weeks last time when they chopped my leg off. And I was only in for 8 days. So 1 week with this. and I'll be out and we'll be able to do that. So that's what's going to be going on. We're not leaving you. We're not running away. I'm just in that much fucking pain most of the time that it's just doing me fucking boxing. And I keep asking for painkillers and stuff. And I found the best thing that I've been able to use is paracetamol and ibuprofen. So, and even though I'm not really supposed to take ibuprofen because because of the APS. But yeah, that's what's going to be going on in the next couple of weeks. So we've got a guest, a really good guest as well. I'm really excited about getting him on and talking about his film, because if you haven't seen the trailer, have a look at the trailer. It looks really good. Even though it's got Neil Sanders in it, it still looks like a really good trailer. But yeah, so we'll be doing that. And I'm going to try and get somebody for Tuesday as well, and then just like bang it out and just like sort of power through all this the pain, and then you remember.
I spoke to anybody who can remember Daisy. Daisy was the one who was imprisoned in the mental health system. For those of you that remember, I spoke to her finally after about a month of trying to get hold of her. She's had something similar to labyrinthitis. Apparently what she's had makes her just like completely dizzy, and it just makes her incredibly nauseous, so she just has to lay down all day. Anyway, she's had that. Thankfully she's recovering a bit now. I'm sure she won't mind me telling you that now she's back living at her parents' place. I'm sure that was public knowledge before, but her dad sadly has got dementia. A couple of years ago, you could see it started, and apparently now it's really bad. And obviously Daisy's now faced with the fact that she's got a relatively elderly mum, although if you met her, you wouldn't believe it, and a very poorly and elderly father. And they're trying to sort of hold this family unit together. And the lack of support, lack of direction, lack of anything really from anything to do with the health service is astounding. And I asked her if she'd come on and give us an update on how all the rules have changed and what it actually means for families who are in that situation, and of which there is a massively growing number. And in true Daisy style, she is researching the hell out of this, not just for her own family unit's benefit, but so that she can spread the word. And she has mentioned one particular author whose name I forget, who used to actually work in the system, realized how corrupt it was, and then got out. And the one thing that really stood out from the conversation that I had with her was, once the label of dementia is given, almost all help stops. Simply because they then say that everything that happens from there is predictable and expected, can be planned for, and so doesn't need any physical help, doesn't need any financial help, and doesn't need the family to benefit from any respite care.
Wow.
Because once that diagnosis is given, everything after that is predictable. Whereas if there's no diagnosis, there's more help available.
So once they've been diagnosed, then
chuck them on the scrap heap. Yeah,
fuck them. That's it. It's gone, innit? Fuck them.
Yeah.
Let them die. That's all they're doing. That's the message they're giving. And you know, I would imagine. I know that she's the family a decent, hard-working family.
Oh God, yeah.
And I would imagine they've got some assets that will probably be sold off for their care at the end of their life. It's just it's just it's a terrible situation.
Apparently, the chap that she's been in touch with, and I don't want to steal any of her thunder because I know in a few weeks' time she does intend to come on and give us the full story. One thing she did say was, "Well, I'm not an expert." Well, in a way, that's a good thing, because it means that whatever she does share with us is well researched and from the heart. But if it asks as many questions as it answers, that too is a good thing. Trying to make people aware of what's going on. Yeah, it was worse than I predicted, because what I thought was, oh, it's just down to money, like you know, hard. I mean, a mum and dad live in this little dormer bungalow. It's no mansion by any stretch. You know, a mum and dad have spent years paying for it, and yeah, like you say, chances are it's going to be taken away. But that remains to be seen. But so I'm hoping that once Daisy's got all her stuff together with that, she's going to come on and do that. So she might even be listening tonight. So if you are, Daisy, hello. She'll probably send me a text now. I've sent that.
Yeah, saying piss off,
Saying,
I'm not
piss
coming
off,
on
I'm
your
not coming
show.
on your show because Jason plays too much music.
Do you know there's it started again, you know, doing the where it fucking mutes me. It's just muted me about 3 times. I've had to unmute it while you were talking.
Oh wow.
So Google Hangouts is playing up proper crap, and it's I know it's going at end of August, and I've had a look at the webcam thing, and I'm just going to check that out and see what that is, and we might have to go BitChute or anything really.
Yeah, just do
when
something.
Hangouts are gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to find another home. Yes, it's but it seems that there seems to be, and don't get me wrong, this is not right. But in today's day and age, for somebody in Daisy's situation, Daisy in a family, because you know that they might be considered as quite well off or something. Oh, here we go.
I've just got a text off Daisy, and it says, and I quote, hang on a minute. Oh God, hang on. I can't even find it now. What have I, oh, that's because it's on a WhatsApp. Hang on a minute. Piss off, I'm not coming on your show.
There you go. I told you.
Yeah, so I think that the thing that struck me the most was it's not just a case of we're going to try and steal your house, and believe me, we are going to be successful. It's also got worse than that now, because now they're saying, and also we're not going to spend any of our money on you, because everything that's happening to you is completely predictable. So piss off. You know, so it's just like rubbing salt in the wound. Now, Daisy's dad is certainly of the age to have served in the army, the Navy, or the Air Force, certainly to have done his national service, if not more. And when you go in the house, there's pictures of aircraft on the wall, so I'm assuming he was in the RAF. You know, so he's done his bit for Queen and country, and then all they do is then chuck him on the scrap heap and just say, oh, well, you know. So anyway, look, I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder, because the little bit that I know, I've just said. I don't really know much more than that. So Daisy, get your shit together, and then you can come on and tell us all about it. Anyway, I want to talk to you about my afternoon at the hospital today. All I've been to the hospital for is to find out if I can. No, you're not there, Jason. You're muted again. All I've been to the hospital for today is to find out if I'm a candidate for eye surgery, so that I don't have to wear these things, because I've got an eye that's affected by the Bell's palsy, and then I have to wear very focal glasses, and I've got shitty legs that I keep falling over, partly because I can't feel them because of the motorbike accident, but partly because yeah, you're on now. Partly because I wear very focal glasses, and I keep falling over things that aren't even there. So I've been up to the hospital today to find out if I'm a candidate for having laser or whatever surgery. And funnily enough, I am. But that's because it's going to cost about $7,000 that I don't have. Anyway.
So what did you go in first place for?
Well, apparently what they're recommending for me to have done, or sorry, one of the choices that's there for me to have done, is the same operation you get if you get cataracts. So originally I went to my optician and said, hello, can I have an eye test, please? You're not due for another year. Yes, but I want you to find if I've got a cataract. But sadly, I haven't got a cataract. So rather than it be on the NHS, I've got to pay for it if I want to. Anyway, right. The point is, because it's like a private bit of the hospital, there's a big telly on the wall, and you're in and out of this. First, you go see the guy who'd be sticking the knife in. Then you go see an optician. Then they take you down the corridor and do all these eye things on you. Then they put in all these other. If you can imagine a normal eye test at the opticians multiplied by 6 or 7, I was in there nearly 3 hours. Because you're in and out of all these rooms and you keep having all these different things done to your eyes. Then they need to let your eyes dilate. And anyway, every time I sort of went in a room and came back, the only thing that was on this TV was the rolling BBC 24-hour news. And very quickly, I'm sort of sat there thinking, people still believe this shit. Because that's the most news I've probably been sat in front of for, God, months, if not years. And it's time we just called this bullshit out for what it is. They've got Jeremy Corbyn, who's now decided is a stayer, not a goer. And he believes that if there's a general election, which of course there ain't going to be to choose our next prime minister, so no fuckers voted for whoever we get. Well, they have. The 0. whatever percent of the population that are in the Conservative Party, nothing corrupt going on there then, are going to all vote for whoever.
Well, they're entitled. If they're members of the party, then surely they're entitled to make their own leader. Just because that leader at that point would be prime minister, I agree that there's an argument there for there being a general election relatively quickly. But I don't know about fucking hell, it's like you're voting for Boris Johnson or fucking Jeremy Hunt. Jesus Christ! What sort of well, I don't need knitting needle down my Jap's eye, please. Can I have that instead?
If those two names don't help you to understand that politics is just bollocks and confusion and it's not real, then well, wake up. But the other thing was, and I love this, I absolutely loved it, that if there's a general election or what we ought to have, what is it they called it? A public vote. Whatever's decided, if there's a new deal put forward, Jeremy Corbyn said there should be a public vote. Didn't call it a referendum. Because if we call it something different, it's not the same really, is it?
No.
And it's just fucking call it what it is. Because and I can't believe, and all these people, we're not huddled around this telly, but we're all just, and you could see them sort of muttering to themselves, we don't think that's right. And I'm sat there thinking, do you really fucking believe this? Do you really believe this bollocks that's on the telly? Because it's just there so that you think you've got a choice, and you haven't. You have not. And once you realise that when you watch any news program, they're always going to talk about the deficit. It's not real. They're always going to talk about money as if it's a positive. It's not. They're always going to talk about money as if it's brought into existence by our government. It's not. And all those things are assumed by everybody who's speaking the news and listening to it. And as soon as you realise that that's bollocks, you look at the news in a completely different light. You end up looking at it and thinking, do they really expect me to believe this shit? Because it's just bollocks.
Well, yeah, of course it's bollocks. It's all bollocks. But again, we've got this situation where they had Brexit, and I think the result was probably rigged for us to leave. Because, well, I don't know if it was rigged for us to leave, but I think that we were always going to leave, because look at the political chaos we've got now, where people have been concentrating for nearly 3 years on Brexit. In fact, it is 3 years, isn't it?
More than, yeah.
On Brexit and all the other stuff. So you've got all your little puppets going about and making appeasing the fucking masses while you're behind doing off and fucking bombing fuck out of somebody, or putting some legislation through Parliament unhindered, and it's all behind. It's all a show. It's all a big charade. It's a big soap opera.
When was the last time a government formed a department that was brought in to do a job clearing up dog shit? I don't know. Just pick a subject, doesn't matter. And that government department was completely successful, achieved its goal, was closed down and disbanded because it wasn't needed anymore. When was the last time that happened? It never has.
Of course it doesn't. It doesn't happen. You see, it's
Yeah.
always perpetual failure. So the next person, it's like a factory of these fucking idiots coming out of these posh schools and then taking these jobs. That's pretty fucking basic. We can see that by the tossers that we end up with.
And when you get people who, oh well, you've got to vote. Well, why is that then? Why have I got to vote? Why don't you just ignore them? Because Bush Jr. is probably the best example. Do you really think the man who couldn't even remember a quote was in charge of anything? He couldn't even wipe his own arse. I mean,
He couldn't eat pretzels and drink beer at the same time.
I mean, it's just a joke. And then you look back in that family and find out that Prescott Bush paid and armed both sides, the Carlyle Group, etc., and even further back than that, armed and paid for both sides of the Second World War. And then you realise that the brave guys who went to war, including my great-granddad, who died in the trenches, thought they were dying for king or queen and country, and didn't. They died because it was a rich man's war that they were fighting. And that was it. It was just there to make money to get us further and further and further into so-called debt to some Rothschild banking dynasty whose name isn't even Rothschild. What is it? Bausch? I forget what they're called now. Forget the real family name.
But you see, this is what we've got all these distractions. This is why we've got all these distractions. Like there were some women that were that had T-shirts on, went into Starbucks or somewhere anyway, and had T-shirts on that said, "Lesbians are women," and then it had the definition of a woman underneath, or definition of a lesbian underneath. Anyway, somebody who worked in the place who was trans found offence at that, and then decided to call the police, and the police came and evicted them and took them away, took them out of this place where they were. Exactly. It's all about feelings nowadays. It's not about facts. It's about feelings. What you feel like, I feel all hurt by it. Yeah, well, fucking hell.
It's like when you get them things on the TV and it'll say, oh, there's extreme violence right from the beginning, so beware. I think, if you don't like it, switch the fucker off. It's got an off button.
I know, but that's not a massive problem. That's for if you sat at home and you've got a couple of kids on settee, you might want to think, all right, well, I'll turn it off. That's what it's normally about. But who does that? Who do you know? I mean, there are people that will do that, but who will do that? They'll sit on the settee with the kids and they'll expose them to whatever, but they've been told beforehand. There's going to be scenes of violence. There's going to be scenes of surgery. You've seen that in these doctors' things and what have you. And that vet thing that they have on the our lasses fucking just goes all the way through. There's scenes of surgery and there's scenes of this. That's not a problem. I've got a problem with that. With the people, the announcer telling them, and but that's all. Disguised, it's dressed up and disguised. It's like saying, don't switch over because there's going to be some violence on here. There's going to be something sexual, or there's going to be something, gory, or it's just, and they know how people work. When you see a car accident, everyone slows down to have a look. They won't have a look. There might be horrific going on there. There might be somebody laid out with but they want to look. They want to look. And that's the reason that they have those things at the beginning. Oh, there's scenes of sexual behaviour and nudity right from the very beginning to the very fucking end. So you best watch it all, including the adverts in the middle, which be paying for this production to take place. It's just, once you see it, it's fucking obvious. If they're warning you about something, they want you to fucking do it. They want you to do it.
I tell you what, they do put the warning on before. Judge Judy. Judge Judy from 2004. That's in 4x3 telly, and the following program. And you think, oh, it's fucking Judge Judy. But just joking aside, actually, you can put little gems from Judge Judy, because she'll say things like, you cannot change the four corners of this contract. Arbitrarily, you cannot do it. It must have the agreement of both parties. And you think, oh, right, four corners. So some of the stuff that she comes out with is little gems. And of course, don't forget, what they've got over in the States is, of course, based on the British legal system. So that doesn't change. Oh, I know what the other thing was that I wanted to talk about.
Courts.
Well, yeah. Listen, I'm not going to give anybody legal advice. The one bit of advice I'm going to say is keep the fuck out of court, because you're not going to win. And the reason you're not going to win is everybody in that court, including your solicitor if you've got one, is an officer of the court. They're all speaking a language that sounds like English, but is just not, and it's designed to trip you up. They'll ask you the simplest question like, tell the court your name. You say, Brian Smith. You've just, one, lied because it's not your name, because on your birth certificate it says Crown copyright. So your name belongs to the Crown. So you just lied, it's not yours. So you just committed perjury. Everything after that you say is irrelevant because you just committed perjury. You're guilty. Secondly, you've just told them that you agree that it's a court. Now, it might be that you're there for council tax, and the guy sat in the chair up there, ain't a judge and he ain't a magistrate. He's just a bloke who works for the council. But because you walk in and you assume that he's a judge or a magistrate, they let you believe that. The other thing that they assume is that whatever they assume, you've automatically agreed to. And that's even before we get into trusts, who's the trustee, even before all that. And the reason you're going to lose is, even if you walk in and go, I don't understand what language you'll be speaking, you can try all sorts. I do not recognize you, all sorts of things. They'll walk out and walk back in again, and they're under a different jurisdiction. And they'll keep assuming different jurisdictions until you've got your head up your arse, you don't know where you're going, and you're going to lose. So whatever it is that you're given to deal with the head of the snake before it gets to court. And I'll give you an example. Jess, my daughter, won't mind me telling you this. She moved out 3 years ago. While she was there, her gas and lecky, she's only there about 3 months, her gas and lecky was with British Gas. It just happened to be who was supplying the house when she moved in. And when she moved out, they sent her a bill for 300 and she rang them up and went, this can't be right. I've only been here a few weeks. These are the meter readings when I moved in. I've already given you them before, but here's what they are again. And here's what the meter reading was the day I moved out. So will you send me a bill now? Not anything estimated. I want a proper bill. Yeah, we'll send you that. 6 weeks later, she rings them up. I've not had a bill from you yet. Can you send me one, please? Anyway, 3 years have gone by. She's asked them and asked them. They've never sent it. And in the past 2 weeks, there's been 4 letters go to her mum's address from I think she said it was Moorcroft, one of these debt collecting dickheads, and about 6 or 7 to her address. Now, this is a company that she's got nothing to do with. They're just some debt collector who have been appointed by the other party of the alleged contract, British Gas. Jess being one party in the contract, British Gas being the other. Dad, what shall I do about it? Well, first of all, you ignore the debt collecting dickhead. Because technically he's a third party interloper. Somebody sticking his nose in where it don't belong. When what we do, we get in touch with British Gas and we tell them, call your dogs off because they're a third party interloper and they are harassing me. I've got no contract with them and you've instructed them. And if you don't call your dogs off every time they come, I'm going to charge you 4,950 quid for harassing me or instructing your guard dog to harass me. And send them an invoice. And for each unpaid invoice, we take them to court. And very quickly, you stand in court if you end up there. I don't know anybody who ever has over this. And they owe you much more than they say you owe them. But because you've got your invoices, you've got your letters and everything that you've sent them, you can prove that they owe you the money. So it's never going to get to court. It's just a way of being able to keep out. That's all it is. But you got to go for the head of the snake and ignore all the other shit. The debt collectors and whatever, they are nothing to you. And I know I've used this analogy before. I lend my lawnmower to Jason. And then my mate Dave goes around to Jason's house to collect my lawnmower. What does Jason tell him? Fuck off. It's not your lawnmower, it's Abe's lawnmower. And it is no different with some alleged debt, whether it's from British Gas, BT, some fucking whoever it is, don't matter. You only ever deal with the people that you've got a so-called contract with. But go for the head of the snake and go early.
If it's got to the point where somebody else is coming around for your lawnmower, I'm at the stage where I'm saying, "What lawnmower? I borrowed it almost years ago. You know, it's too bad now. It's mine. It belongs to me."
Yeah. You know, and yeah, you can go online and you can use the 3-letter thing and all the rest of it. But the easiest thing to do is ignore the fucking Rottweiler. Just ignore it. Because if you don't let it in, it can't bite you. And you just say to British Gas, look, I'll deal with you. And if there's a debt that exists, I'll talk to you about it. But not well, your dogs are barking at my door. Call them off. Because if you don't, you've instructed the harassment and I'm giving you lawful notice that I'm going to charge you 4,950 quid every time your dog barks at my door. Now off your fuck. And it works because I've done it more than once for more than one person, lots of people. But I'm not giving you legal advice. All I'm saying is this has worked for me. But you only ever talk to the head of the snake of the one that you've got the contract with.
You don't talk to
not the dickhead that's knocking at your door, shouting loudest. Because he's just a dickhead.
The head of the snake. You don't talk to the rackle. What's rackle do? It's going to rackle.
Yeah. Anyway, we haven't seen Colin for a bit.
Oh, Colin, where is he? Oh, he's here, look. There you go. Little wave. Colin, wave. Colin, are you awake? You're awake. Oh. Yeah, he's awake. There you go. It's Colin. He's got a lovely tail.
Colin the raccoon, yes.
He's got his son a bird.
He's got his son a bird?
Yeah. It's a thing. Oh, there you go. Oh, hang on. Steal you two. You're going to get fucking Annie all day. Annie all day?
No, you're not, honestly.
Well, I said Annie all day, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
so, yeah. That was the on it today, really. Because, you know, my daughter rings me up, Dad, I've had all these letters. And you just like, fucking not again. But when you've asked to pay a bill even though we know it's not a bill, but, you know, even though, look, I've got, I'm aware of somebody who has, let me start the other way around. My whole reason for thinking how I do is because of my enormous,
Head.
yeah, no, my enormous,
Come on,
I
we're
suppose, defense of what,
this.
my defense of what's right and wrong, if you like.
Your enormous moral
Yeah, my sense of right and wrong, and my, yeah.
responsibility. Your moral responsibility.
So what I genuinely believe is, let's all work out how not to get raped. Okay. So one definition of being raped, you've got to pay a TV license. You might never watch a telly, you might not even own one, but we're gonna fucking bully you into watching one. Well, it's dead easy to get rid of that. You just don't do it. Just don't. Just write to them. I don't require a TV license. You can even go online on their website, click all the buttons and not pay it. Okay. I'm not encouraging anybody to do that. I'm just saying, if you don't feel that you want to be raped in that
Encourage
way,
them to do it. Encourage them to do it. You don't want to be paying paedophiles.
yeah. I mean, we're talking about an organisation that not only, well, just you've only got to mention one word, Savile, and that's enough in it. But anyway, so my whole thing is that we do what's right because it's honourable. It's honourable not to pay a bully just because he's fucking hammering on your door and demanding money off you. So let's all work out how not to get raped. But I also do get contacted from time to time, people asking me, I borrowed this money off, I don't know, the bank, the credit card, whatever. Now, even though we know it's not real because of the links that I've already put in the chat room tonight, the other one, by the way, is called Money Has Debt. I'll see if I can find that in a minute. So we know this money's not real, but in dead simple terms, you borrow 10 grand off the bank. We know it's not real. We know it was just magic to put in from thin air into existence on a computer screen. But what effectively happens is the bank put it on the debit column in the ledger and in the credit column. So one balances the other out. Now, the reason they can do that is it's credit because they've lent it to somebody, but it's debit because somebody's going to pay them back. You. Okay. Plus the interest. Now, we know that that interest doesn't exist. So the whole system is designed to fail. But, you know, the amount of people that are going to end up defaulting is at least the amount of interest that doesn't exist, plus all the inflation that's the hidden debt. Because what happens is this, in dead simple terms, it's a lot more complicated, but in dead simple terms, when you default, they can write off the debt, the credit, but they can't write off the debit. And if a bank gets so many of those, eventually the bank would go bankrupt. But what actually happens is the government come along with some convoluted way of writing that column off as well. That's what generates inflation. So everybody pays for it. Okay. So in very, very loose terms, if you borrow something and you get into shit through no fault of your own, because I've talked before about the bit where Jason and I own a factory. We end up employing 10 men. We end up with an overdraft, which is our working capital. And then the bank say, sorry, you can't have that overdraft anymore. There's been a bit of a boom and bust. And then we have to make guys redundant who then have to have their houses foreclosed on and repossessed. And the bank come and repossess something they never possessed in the first place. So we know it's a big con. But if that happens because of no fault of your own, then we all should be sticking together and doing something about that. But if you intentionally go and borrow money even though it doesn't exist, a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage of that is what causes inflation when you don't pay it back. That's not your fault. It's the corrupt banking system's fault, but it does happen. I mean, I'm talking, an egg cup in the oceans of the world. So that's why me personally, I wouldn't help anybody who'd done that on purpose. And I personally would not do it. Because if we all didn't do it, then we're all that little bit, I wouldn't say better off, but not worse off. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, let's all work out how not to get raped, but equally, let's have some respect for each other and not use this corrupt system so that we can be guilty of partially raping everybody else. If that makes any sense.
It
Good.
sort of does, but it does to a degree. But there were a point I was going to fucking.
But I was that busy jabbering on, you forgot.
Yeah, I mean, about 3 or 4 times when I thought, well, there's this. When you said the money isn't real, it's not. It's created. Well, yeah, it is created, but it's created by a signature.
Yeah.
So therefore, that signature then is the equity against the amount of credit that's been given.
Yeah.
So that money then does exist, but it exists it exists in the form of credit. Now, there should be that should then belong to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It belongs to you, and
Mm.
therefore, any further transactions that go through that, because you've created it, any further transactions and any that is used by that particular money, the interest should go to you, surely, because you created the money. It's your money.
Yeah. It's this monetary system is supposed to be complicated, so that Muppets like me and you don't understand it. And even if you can get a basic grasp of how this corrupt system and why this corrupt system came into being, which you actually find out in the first chapter of The Creature of Jekyll Island, which is what I put a link in earlier. All I would say is, go listen to that 1 hour, and the other one to watch is the 3.5 hour other money one. I'm just trying to find here Money Has Debt. There's lots and lots and lots. So if I just find the first one, just bear with me. Here we go. I'll just put the first one. These are like cartoons. And they really are simple to sit and watch and understand. So let me just get this link. Here we go. I don't know how to do this. Jason, talk for a minute, because I'm a real dickhead when it comes to shit like this.
Well, all right. Listening to Raconteurs, you're listening and you're watching in colour the handsomeness of myself and my good friend Aid Hardy. We're here on Raconteurs News. It's Tuesday night. We're about at 5 to 9. We're just going to go as long as we can tonight, aren't we? We're just going to. We're not going to go for 2 hours. We're not going to have a break in the middle. We're just going to sort of go along and plod along, and it might be an hour and a quarter, it might be an hour and a half, it might be an hour. But that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Hello to everyone who's in the chat room, and we've got 9 thumbs up. There's loads of more people watching and that have stayed watching as well. So if you get in there, give us a thumbs up just to make us feel good inside and make us feel as though we're contributing to the zeitgeist that is the independent media. I wanted to also have a chat about other stuff as well, like for fuck's sake, my brain tonight it's gone absolutely fucking nuts.
I've just put another link in.
You popped it in chat room, have you?
Yeah, the Money Has Debt one. Again, that one's broken down into God knows how many. But again, even if all you watch is the first one, you'll have some kind of idea. There is one common thing about every country in this world. Whether you believe it's flat, round, or indifferent, there's one thing that is common. Every single one has a currency. Some share the same currency, Most countries are in a Rothschild debt-based currency. Some countries are not. You can tell the ones that aren't because they're the ones we keep bombing the shit out of.
They're the dangerous ones, like Iran and North Korea.
Yeah, and we're told that they're dangerous because the Rothschilds want us to believe that, so that they can, we can bomb the shit out of it and then lend them the money from the Rothschild banking system to put it all right, because that's how it fucking works. And people vote for this shit. So money is absolutely at the center of everything. And once you realize that it's not only not real, the whole system is so corrupt. And even in history, if you look at, especially in what they did with the Fed in America, at the moment we've got the Financial Conduct Authority, which kind of oversees everything financial and makes sure everything's sound. And well, when I first started in financial services, we had the Life Assurance and Unit Trust Regulatory Organization. We hang on, what was it? Loutro, IMRO. There were loads of them. And then they all got together under one umbrella. And when you watch all these things on money, you quickly realize that they're all in on it too. And the people that are actually supposed to be protecting the public, they're not. They're not protecting the public. What these in history have actually done is given the bankers a way of being able to not only cover up the corruption, but on paper, make the corruption look like it was for the benefit of everybody. When all it's done is create more and more and more and more inflation. Which is, inflation isn't the cost of things going up. It's the value of what you've got in your pocket going down. Yet, when you listen to the TV and the news, it will always say, oh, well, things cost more now, don't they? No, they fucking don't. What you've got in your pocket is worth less. That's the difference. Everything's upside down. It's put that way to make you think that you're tiny, insignificant, but at the same time, it's your fault. But you can't do anything about it because you're too small. All I'm saying is get your head from up your arse, watch some money shit, work out that every country in the world has got money, so it's at the center of everything. Money and currency, big difference. Money, there is a finite amount of, based on gold or silver or some other tangible thing that you can physically hold. Okay? Currency is just something they can just keep printing and printing and printing and printing. And whenever they print more, it dilutes the value of what you've got in your pocket.
Well, they don't even need to go to the expense of printing it anymore.
No, they don't. Just tap it in the screen. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all they do.
There you go. There's your credits. That's what it'll be in future.
Yeah. What was that film with Schwarzenegger and what's her name in the tight black pants? Demolition Man.
Never seen it.
And and he's got so many credits, and yet here we are. That movie's got to be what, 20 years old, maybe more, 25 years old. Demolition Man, got to be. And here we are with a system like in China, which is coming here, knocking on your door quite soon, thanks to 5G. Social credits. Sorry, sir, your chip's been switched off. You can't buy that food because you did something the government didn't like. Fuck off. And that's happening. That is happening in China today, now, to millions of people because they did something wrong. That's why you see all this shit on the telly, where they're trying to burst into government buildings. And it's not just about what they're telling you, it's about all the social credit system as well. And this is coming to a town near you soon. Very soon.
Yeah, of course it is. It's fucking crazy. The world's just in a crazy place. We're in a place where now I've spoke about this ad nauseum, but that I won't watch the women's football, the World Cup, simply because I don't like the World. I don't like it. I've got opinions on why it's there and now it's doing everything, and it's turning. It's going to inevitably end up as being the transsexual male league rather than or the trans female, whatever they fucking call this. But it's almost as though they're trying to merge us all into one state. They're trying to force us into being into one sort of just a drone, if you want. So everybody's this drone. Everyone can be whatever they want. You can call yourself whatever you want. It's a great. You can be a unicorn for a day. And again, this is I was looking at some of these pictures. It's been Pride over weekend, hasn't it? Did you go to any Pride events?
I didn't know. No, I had great pride in riding my bike across Staffordshire and North and Derbyshire on a nice day. That's what I had pride in doing.
Awesome. Oh, so you're not proud of what way you shove your cock, because that's what it is, isn't it? I mean, it's ridiculous. You've got people. All right, gay pride. If it's a march and it's all in solidarity, why are they all dressed up like a fucking freak show? What? Why? Why does it? There's kids there as well, and it don't. That's not pride. That's just child abuse. When kids are seeing things, that they shouldn't see. They shouldn't see a woman and a man having sex. They mind fucking two men having sex and flaunting sexuality. So,
can you imagine if we had a straight white male pride party? We'd just be called Nazis.
Well, yeah, of course we would. Yeah, it's the double standards. It's double standards. It's pandering to one side, but that's what it's designed to do.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily
all
really.
Yep.
And they want the backlash that's going to come from it, because you've already got people that are trans men that are pretending to be women. I'll just call them that instead of fucking trans, because it just don't fucking make any sense to me. So so men pretending to be women are starting to win women's events and set records in women's events. So they're born men, and then they decide, well, I fancy a fucking skirt today, and perhaps some little panties or some big panties, or like a great big bra, and I'll put some, I don't know, some sand, or sand. I'll get sand all over me. So, I'm going to be a woman. It's a completely ridiculous place that we're going into, and that's where this political correctness, where you can't. You're not supposed to be
you can't call something what it is for the fear of being
to voice self-censorship. People self-censor. I won't self-censor at all, you fat cunt. So don't
fucking bald bastard. Hang on, one-legged bald bastard.
Oh yeah, don't forget the one-legged.
Soon to be 14-digit.
Well, no, I don't think they're not getting rid of any toes.
Is it not?
No, it's just a bypass. Just a bypass from
right
from top of your
I'm waiting for this. With, if you think about the things that have become more prominent, that's let's just put it all under one umbrella: sexuality. Brexit. Okay, we've got all these things that are just being pushed further and further and further, and people are getting, whether they're afraid to say it or not, more and more and more sick of. And all the establishment are after, and I'm not talking about the politicians that you might want to vote for. I mean, the real people who run things above that, who I'm sick of talking about, but is when the public starts saying, will somebody do something? Why don't you fucking do something? Because what they do at that point, as soon as you get can somebody do something? Boom, straight away. Right, we'll set up this government department and it's going to do this. And everybody cheers and rallies behind it, because out of all the chaos, what do they get? They get what they want. And that's for somebody to say, can somebody do something? Well, get off your fucking ass and you do it. Be the change that you want to see. Do it yourself.
You can't impose that on somebody else. You can't impose. You've got to do it yourself. You're right. You've got to do it yourself. You can try and guide people. You can try and say to people, look, this is this fucking all this shit. Don't get so caught up in it because it's just fucking soul destroying if you get caught up too much. It's what?
I remember when you were talking to who was the guy who did the 9/11 book in America? The black guy, real nice kid. We had him on a couple of times.
Oh, Lennon Honor.
You know, he talks a lot about. Do you notice how neither me or Jason were offended when I said that right nice black kid? Because it's just describing him.
Yeah,
it's not wrong. It's not. I'm not offending him. It's just what he is. Right nice black kid. And he always talked about, you know, why would you externalize your power? Why would you do that? Why would you let somebody else decide what your fate is? And I don't mean a Yorkshire fate, which is a punch-up. I mean your fate. Why would you let somebody decide your destiny? Why not just do it yourself? And you decide what your destiny is. And instead of saying, "Can somebody do something?" That was the other one. What was this one? I can't remember what. I don't think I saw this. I think I heard somebody else talking about this. And it was on one of these political question timey type programs. And it was on about bailouts from the bank. And all the bailout from the bank, by the way, is what I was talking about earlier, where all the losses of the bank, because the banks are corrupt, are swallowed up by everybody when there's a bailout, the whole country. Because all they do, they print enough money to cover this huge debt, which devalues of what you've got in your pocket. And that's all that happens. Well, that's all that happens. It's a big thing. But somebody in one of these audiences stood up and said, "Why do we have to pay for this? Why won't the government pay for it?" And that's how fucking brainwashed people really are. And you think, have you listened to yourself, mate? Where do you think the money they get, the government, the government get all the money from? They get it from us. When everything you buy is taxed.
It's taxpayers' money.
Yeah, everything you earn is taxed. You know, all this tax money, and to be honest, the money they take in tax is tiny compared to how much they're actually generating with this corrupt banking system, and how much the government are borrowing in your name of money that doesn't really exist. But anyway, and you need to get your head around that. But for a man to stand up and say, "We shouldn't be paying for this, the government should," where the fuck do you think the government get the money from? They get it from you. So why you stood up in this audience asking such a dumb shit question? And that's because you can't see the nose on your face, because you're too busy looking for something that's not there, and that's for somebody to do something. Instead of looking at what's really going on, ignore all the bollocks and all the information. There's no excuse now, because we've all got one of these. We've all got one of these, and we've all got one of these.
Few.
You know, and everything you need is easier to come across now than it ever was. This information is out there. And if you don't want to look in the places, I suggest go listen to David Icke, go listen to the Corbett Report, go listen to whoever. You'll never agree with everything that they all say or what I say. But some of it you will. And just always ask the question, who benefits? Who benefits? Who benefits from you believing that man landed on the moon? Who benefits?
NASA, they get $40 billion a year.
Yeah, and I had this conversation with somebody in the pub. We were actually about 8 or 10 people, and there was 4 or 5 different conversations going on. I went to the loo and I came back and I sat in a different chair, and somebody turned their head and said to me, "Do you think they landed on the moon?"
Oh dear, what a fucking... He's going to regret that, isn't he?
Right? And the guy who I was sat next to knows a bit of what I'm like, and he went, "Oh, fuck." Yeah. And I just turned to him and I went, I don't believe anything. He said, what do you mean? I said, they never asked the right question. Oh, yeah, but what do you think about that bit of film that showed this rock? And what do you think about, you know, how could they possibly, these conspiracy theories, how could they possibly get away? And I said, we can now use cameras and digitization to make anything look like anything on a screen. You know, when you watch the film Independence Day, they blew up the White House. And if you didn't know, you would think they really blew up the White House because that's what it looked like. So they can make anything look like anything, let alone a bag supposed to be blowing in the wind on the moon or whatever. And I said, they never asked the right question in anything like this. He said, what do you mean? What's the right question? I said, who benefits? What do you mean? I said, well, early 60s weren't that far past the end of the Second World War, 39, 45, 55. You're only 15 years past the end of the First World War. So you've got people like Von Braun, or Van Braun, who'd come over from Germany, Nazis, brought into America by America, and what they actually wanted was something to put nuclear warheads on top of. So if they'd have gone to the American people and said, we choose to get this from Germany, and he's going to design these rockets and he's going to test them, and they're going to be for putting nuclear warheads on that we're going to point at Russia, the American people would have gone, fuck off, we're not paying for that. So instead, they stood there and said, we choose to go to the moon, not because it is easy, but because it is hard. And all the American people went, fucking, we're going to the moon, we are, before this decade.
Do you think JFK actually believed that, or do you think that JFK was just fed some bullshit and told what to say?
I think that point in time, around that time, was the turning point where he believed, you know, he wanted to bring back the old greenbacks, the money that was actually printed by the government.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd been warned off by that at that point several times by the corrupt banking system, the 13 families that I'm always going on about. But I believe that sort of time, that early 60s, was the turning point for him probably realizing that he wasn't the most powerful man in the world. He was just the most powerful looking puppet in the world. Because that's all, sadly, the American president is. That's what they are. They're just the most powerful looking puppet. Or if you end up with somebody like fucking Trump, Muppet, you know, for fuck's sake. We've got a president who spends more time on fucking Twitter. What the fuck is that all about?
But if you take it for what it really is, and I believe it really is, it's just like a soap opera that's playing out in front of everybody, right? So if you take it as that, I enjoy Trump. Let's get more fucking lunatics in, right? Because these people, it's there's got to be a point where we all say, that's it now. We're coming in and we're fucking getting. We've enjoyed watching you. It's been a laugh. You've took piss out of us a bit, you know. But we'll take that because it was really entertaining. But now, can you please fuck off and go
a bit like that? What was that BBC soap opera that they filmed in Spain that was good for about 1.5 seasons?
El Dorado. Fucking loved it.
Dorado. There you go.
Me and Heath used to love El Dorado. Marcus, Marcus, Marcus. Heath will get that. Nobody else. But he's in Bulgaria at the moment. He's in Bulgaria living it up. He's texted me during the show and says he's going to listen to it later on. But it is just weird. And if Boris gets in, it's going to get even more exciting, isn't it? Ooh, who do you want? It's no wonder they don't go on this side. Right, we're going to have do you want Boris or do you want Jeremy Hunt? Do you want Jeremy Hunt, who has killed, loads of people by his policies, or do you want Boris Johnson, a complete and utter just fucking donut? You might as well put fucking your teddy bear as fucking prime minister. You know,
might
it
as
looks
well have Boris the Spider.
he is the epitome of Trump. You know, he's like this joke president that's in place. Like, you know, he'd be like our joke prime minister. Imagine him to be a great comedy duo, Boris and Don. Bordon, we could call it Bordon. Fucking Jesus Christ! What a laugh that's going to be. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. You know, it's just going to be. It's the entertainment that it is great. But what you can't do is you can't get too engrossed into it like a soap opera. You'll end up addicted to it, and then you won't be able to drag yourself away from it. But if you just take a look in every now and again, you open curtains up, you have a look, and you go, oh, fucking hell, they're still on about that. Still on about fucking climate change. 12 years to save the fucking Earth. Resistance, what is it? Earth Rebellion or fucking something. We've got 12 years to save the Earth. They said that in fucking 89. They said that by the year 2000, if they didn't tackle global warming, we were all going to be underwater and living in some sort of fucking water world with Kevin Costner, you know, everywhere. It's just fucking ridiculous. People believe this shit, but that's what you can't do. You've got to withdraw yourself away from it. You've got to withdraw from that. Because if you don't withdraw from all of it, and I mean all of it, it'll send you fucking potty. It'll send you absolute fucking potty.
Yeah.
You know, and it's people are loons, but they are half funny. You don't half see some funny shit, and you don't half hear some funny shit as well. I mean, yesterday, for example, this is absolutely true. I promise you. Yesterday, when I went down to the vascular clinic, and I walked into the room. They called me into a room, and I had to sit and wait for the consultant to come. So as I'm waiting, this nurse that had got me in, that had put me in, she looks at me and she says, "What is it this time? Is it your right leg?" I'm like, oh, fucking. It was just one of them where I just looked at her, and she went, "Oh yeah, well obviously it is, isn't it?" And you know, it's just this people are so ill-skilled at being able to be around other people, but they know that those skills that people have that they normally would have had, they've all gone because people are scared to say the wrong thing. People are scared to say the wrong thing. They're scared to do the wrong thing. They're scared to be seen to be doing the wrong thing, rather than just not giving a fuck and just saying, "Look, fucking, this is what I do." Well, like with this is what I do. I'll do it whenever I fucking want, whenever I please, and I'll say what the fuck I want as well. And some people might like it, some people don't. And you know, the people that don't like it, that's fine. I'm not here to convert people. I'm just here to vent my own fucking fuck me spleen every now and again because, oh, fucking hell, I've had some fucking shit, some pain. So you know, it's nice to be able to get on and take my mind off it a little bit and just have a chat with you.
Yeah. I try to think back when to the times before you gave me the kick up the arse to realize what was going on. And I find it more and more and more difficult as time goes by. And I know I've said this before as well. I spent more than 2 decades working in the finance industry, mortgages, pensions, unit trusts, all the usual sort of stuff. Sort of stuff that you would walk into a bank and talk to the manager about because you felt secure that somebody who was qualified had given you sound advice. I was that man. But what I didn't realize was the whole fucking system that I worked in is completely fucking corrupt.
So
That's
did you
what I
have
did.
a bowler hat and a briefcase and a brolly in that?
Oh, I did all that shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice one.
So when I realized, and it actually wasn't money that first, it was Jason saying to me, "You do realize that the police is just a man in fancy dress?" And I went, "Well, hang on, what do you mean?" Because he kept chipping away and chipping away and chipping away at me until something snapped. And I kept going back to his house on my lunch break to have a cup of tea. I think Jason's a bit mad, but he's got something and I don't know what it is. And then he said something one day about the police, and I'm like, "Oh, that's right. It is only a man in fancy dress, really, isn't it?" And then you start to look and think, hang on a minute, no, it really is just a man named. But the big thing for me was money. And I'm serious when I say, when I first twigged about money and that big fucking penny, well, it didn't drop, it fell on my head. I didn't talk to myself for 2 years. I really didn't. I was disgusted with myself that a so-called relatively intelligent man could be so fucking dumb and stupid and not see what was in front of him. All the stuff that I assumed that money was a positive. Money was created by the government. Money wasn't brought into existence by debt. It was only ever brought into existence by things like wages and fluffy things and clouds and fairy fucking stories. Because that's what you're left to assume.
Well, I
And you
think
can,
I think you've come up with something there. You know, we've got that guy on next week who's a hypnotist, a hypnosis guy, a stage hypnosis hypnotist. I think, although he must be qualified. So, but he's coming on next week, and I thought that could be a cure for schizophrenia. You've just come up with it there, Ada. Don't talk to yourself.
don't
So
talk to yourself.
send to Coventry and say, right, I'm fucking disgusted with myself. So now, every time I hear them voices in my head, I know it's me. I'm not going to fucking I'm not going to talk to them.
But
There
not
you go.
only I was not talking to myself, but also I was looking at other people and thinking, how the fuck could you have been that stupid? But then thinking to myself, well, of course he was that stupid because I'm qualified in all this shit, and I was that stupid. So I was the fucking gullible one. You know, but the problem is money, this stuff that we all think is real, it's no good me saying it's not real because you can actually walk down the shop round the corner and you can give it to the nice Indian gentleman or his mum behind the counter tonight, and she'll give you a packet of fags, bottles of beer, sweets, bread, food, or anything else in exchange for. So it's all right me saying it's not real when actually, tangibly, it is. And somebody who says, well, if you don't think it's real, give me all yours then. They're quite right. All I'm saying is, once enough people realize that the whole thing is the biggest scam ever, think about it in what I've already said earlier tonight. This shit in England goes on before Oliver Cromwell. What was that, 1697, was it? Something like that? Late 1700s. And up until then, we'd got this tally stick, so literally a piece of wood with a notch in it. And that was seen that you could use. Technically, I think you can still use them today for paying taxes. I'm 99% sure you can. And these things were used for 750 years. Okay, this one, and this system worked because there was no inflation. Things were worth what they were worth. We only ended up with paper money because it was a receipt for the gold that we'd given to a banker. That's how paper money came into existence in the first place. Sadly, now it's not linked to anything like gold or silver or anything of any worth. It's just not. And once you realize all this stuff, if enough people realize it, and we get to, stealing somebody else's words, a critical mass, the whole thing for a short time will come collapsing down. And then it will even out, naturally even out. But if you work it out that 99.9% of the money in the world and all the worth in the world is owned by 0.00001% of the people in the world, we're not in that 0.00001. So yeah, there'll be a bit of a catastrophe when it all happens. And if you look at the news, oh, you can't do that. The world markets, the world's going to come to fucking good. Bring it on. Bring it on. Let's have it today. Let's have this big fucking collapse today. And
Can
then
we
we're
wait?
all equal.
I've had my operation, so that, you know, at least it gets done.
Yeah, all right then. I'll let you that. Bring it on. Because then we'll all be happier. Because we'll all realise that we've all been lied to right from fucking the age of walking in your first day of school to the day you die. About the one thing that is common in every single country on this earth, whether you believe it's flat round or whatever, and that is money. Money, money, money. It is the centre of everything, and it is the scourge of the earth. And
It's
it is the root of all evil,
world.
but it doesn't need to be the root of all evil. If only we all understood just enough about the system. Money has debt. I've put a link in the thingy chat room. The other one is the first chapter of The Creature from Jekyll Island. And then there's that 3.5 hour first one that I put in as well, early doors. Just flick to the top of the chat room. There's 3 links in there. Hopefully you'll get something from it. It is what it is. It is the truth. It is out there, and you can look at it. No excuses for being a dumb shit anymore.
Right, I want to read out a few of these. We've got loads of people in chat room tonight. It's a vibrant chat room, and it's all going well, and there doesn't seem to be any conflict at all.
No.
Steve Owens, good evening, Steve. He says, "Not wrong with money, but it's not what we use. Massive difference between cash and currency and money."
Yep.
I don't know enough about that, but good evening to you, Chris Rosen as well. Money is not the root to all evil. I think it's the human mind. The human mind's fault. Money has no feelings.
You know, I've said many, many times, politics and the value of money and all the shit that goes with it only exists between your ears. That's it.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
You know, if you actually look at it logically, one, what's it got to do with you? And two, how can you change it? The only way we could, you know, people say, yes, but this might all be true, but what do we do? Well, this is where Jason and I differ. Because I just say, just ignore the fuckers out of existence. Don't vote for them. Don't buy their shit. Don't buy your veg from a big whatever. Nip down your local farmer's shop. Buy it from there. You know, don't buy their shit. Stop buying McDonald's shit. Stop buying from the top 500 companies. Because they're all effectively owned by the banking corporation, which is why it's all fucking corrupt.
What are you going to do when you want a burger, though? And you're a vegan?
Have a cauliflower burger.
Cauliflower burger, that'd be ace, wouldn't it? That'd be awesome. Yeah. A pretty big debate going on in the chat room about money. Steve Owens, money has to be good. Money has to be a good store of wealth by definition, such as gold, silver, still similar value from 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The same gold and silver that the Egyptians wore is the same stuff that you see in jewelry shops today. It's the same. You know, a fucking tenner ain't going to still be in that many years' time. Is it? Anyway, £10 of what?
Sterling silver.
There you go.
Big pile of fucking bollocks. Big pile of dog shit. Big pile of
What
crap.
about the value of time? Look at that hour. What's that? New. Sorry, I've been to eye clinic today and I'm struggling to read here because I've had my eyes dilated. Is that New Being?
New Being, yeah.
Yeah, what about the value of time? This is what I think about the value of time. If I'm a doctor and you're a chimney sweep, an hour is the same. It makes no difference. My personal view is that instead of relying on this false currency as a way of exchange, if we all lived cooperatively, in other words, if Jason wanted somebody to kick his dog, because he's only got one leg, he asked me to go around and do it, and that took me an hour. Next time I want my skirting boards painting, I'll ask Jason to do it for an hour. And that's working as a cooperative. Yeah? I do something for you for an hour. So to me, the value of time is probably the most precious commodity there is. Somebody's time. That's the most precious thing. Sadly, we've all got into this world where my time's more precious than your time for some reason, because my chair's got squeaky. Can you hear it?
No, I can't hear it, mate.
Oh.
Can't hear it over my fucker.
Yeah. So that's my view on time, that mine is worth just the same as yours. So if I cut your grass for an hour, you can paint my fence for an hour. That's it. If we all did that, instead of all being interested in how many of these bills of exchanges can we use, so that we can all go down the shop and buy some useless shit that we don't need. Yeah.
Takes me back to the bills of exchange thing.
Oh, sorry, did I mention the bills of exchange?
Yeah.
I thought I got away with it.
Oh, yes. I think I mentioned it once, but I think I got away with it. And when you were talking about court earlier on, I thought you were going to say that you had people with bazookas up behind you and
Yeah.
asking a question. So big up to you, Webby. We
Oh,
love you.
apparently you can get cauliflower burgers from Lidl. Okay.
Oh, can you?
Apparently it says here, yeah. I'm just going to flick back in chat room and see what was going on earlier because I never read it because I can't make that bigger. Oh, I mean the Jews. There's another thing that fucks me off. Right.
What?
I've just read one word, Jew. I ain't got a problem with Jews. You know when I were in New York, I met this beautiful man. He was beautiful on the inside, such a gentleman. And he was clearly Jewish because he'd got the big ringlets and that and all the shit going on. And he worked in the jewelry quarter in New York. And I ended up drinking, I can't remember if it was a coffee or a tea but it was something that the Jews drink in like this little cafe with them. And it was such a culture difference. And it was an absolute pleasure to be with them. Right. But them poor buggers have had their religion and well, it's not even a religion, it's a culture, isn't it? Their complete culture stolen from them by some dickheads who want to use a different word like a Semite or an anti-Semite. Fucking Semite is an Arab, for fuck's sake. And use it as some kind of insult when anybody criticizes George Soros. Now, George Soros is a cunt. But George Soros isn't a cunt because he's Jewish. George Soros is a cunt because he's a Zionist. And all that goes with it, which is a political ideology, not a religion or a culture. So that really nice man that I met in New York and all his family that I sat with, completely unexpectedly that day, and effectively broke bread with and made friends with, how the fuck do you think they feel about all this? Because you never get a Jew going, oh, he's anti-Semitic. You never get a Jew saying that. They don't say it. Because that fucking word has been hijacked by somebody else. And now, and the other one is phobia. Oh, are you gay phobic or transphobic or a phobia is an irrational fear of something. Look in the dictionary, that's what it means. So, oh, you're something phobic. No, I'm not. I'm cunt phobic. I just don't like cunts. Because if you're doing horrible things to the rest of the world, that's what you are. I don't care what color you are, religion you are, whatever. But the thing that I really hate is somebody else's culture or religion being just completely taken over and even used against them. Because they've even started calling Jewish people anti-Semitic. What the fuck? The world's gone mad.
Already were mad, mate. Already were fucking mad.
And when people tell me, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist and you must be mad. Good. Because this world is insane. And if I was a sane person in this insane world, then I'd be insane. But if I'm crazy in this crazy world, at least I'm the one who's fucking sane. If that makes any sense.
It doesn't really. It's like the words of insane man.
Yeah. And no, I'm not drinking. It's fizzy water. No, I ain't had a smoke either. Because I get the munchies and I'm trying to lose weight.
Oh, man. Well, any weed donations that you've got left over, I'd like to help you with your diet.
No, thank you. Thank you. Very much appreciated. So, yeah. I mean, all it's going to get that ridiculous next that Jason's going to be he's going to have a phobia against people who win ass kicking competitions. You know, I mean, it really has got that fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
You
nobody
know.
can brag about winning an arse kicking competition in case they fucking offend me.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
it's fucking right. I couldn't get fuck what fucking anybody fucking says. Funny. If it's funny, it's funny. If it ain't funny, it ain't funny. Simple as that.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
And
fucking. When I said, I remember one time. Oh God. I remember one time I was working at bedroom in Sheffield, like a
I'd just like to point out that's a pub nightclub type
yeah,
club.
it's a club type thing, a late bar, shall we call it? I was DJing in there, and I got on really well with manager. And I think it must have been 2012 or something like that. And I sent him a text message joke about one of Paralympians being testing positive for WD-40. And he
Why is that not funny? Because it is.
as far as I could, I mean, this was the good thing about it, though. I said when next time I saw him, and we were stood outside the club, and I'm having a fag. You know how you do? You go out for a fag, and I'm having a fag, and stood next to talking to him. I said, "Oh, what about that joke I sent you?" He says, "Oh, I weren't going to find that funny. My son's in a wheelchair." He says, "But he says it's all right. It don't matter. You didn't know, did you?" So he said, "But I didn't find it funny." So I thought, "Oh, fuck me, ground, fucking swallow me up." So I've always been
Fucking mouth disease.
well, it's I've tried not to, but there's got to I've inevitably it's sometimes self-censored. You know, when I wanted to say something, and I haven't. I've not said something. In fact, I've been stood there, like with some people, and I've wanted to say something, and it's gone through my mind, and I've not said it, and I've laughed at myself.
Yeah.
You're laughing at? Oh, just no, it's just something that's gone through my head.
I've just read something in the chat room. Hang on a minute. Super Leeds, Raconteurs News, is that the new shirt? And then I've just realised you've got, what is it, a Sheffield Wednesday shirt on?
Yeah.
It looks dark blue or black and yellow.
It's black and yellow.
I've got, listen, I bought this for 200 baht, £4.50 in Thailand, which happens to be yellow and black. So, no, trust me, Leeds, this is not the new Raconteurs uniform. No, it's not.
No,
You know,
and
can you imagine?
by the way, staff members have to buy their own uniform.
Oh, that was the other one that was on this fucking rolling news thing today. Excuse me, and actually one of my customers mentioned this to me. I see a lot of parents who are either on benefits or one or both of them are in relatively low paid but hard working jobs, who generally live on, not all, but generally live on council estates. Now, those mums and dads who work hard for their money or are unable to work, and so have very limited money, especially with all the universal credit, etc. And in and around Sheffield, I think it's one of the first areas to put people onto universal credit. And there's a huge time difference between it being applied for and it being allocated. And so you're in an awful lot of debt by the time people actually get allocated the money. And then the kids have got to have the school uniform with the school logo. Now, I get that ish for a jumper, and I get it ish for a blazer. But to make a mum go to one shop and buy embroidered shorts and t-shirt for a kid to sweat into in a gymnasium or the school hall or on a school field is fucking ridiculous, when they could go to Asda and get 5 shirts or 5 pairs of shorts for the price of one. It's just ridiculous.
It's all about compliance. You're
Exactly
compliant.
right.
You're told you've got to go to there. You've got to go to there. This is the only
Exactly.
uniform we accept. It's
Yeah.
compliance. Have you seen that little in Crystal Peaks just before they go back to school? There's there's that stall in that market stall that does all like school stuff.
Mm.
Have you seen
I've
it?
not seen. No.
Just before kids go back to school, or a couple of weeks before
Yeah.
kids go back to school, there's queues and queues and queues out it because it's an approved supplier of
Just bonkers.
of the. So you're having to pay his prices because that's what the school demands. And if you turn up in, the wrong trousers or the wrong shoes, the wrong colour shoes, or the wrong even socks or whatever, and they won't send them home. They'll stick them in isolation. So they go on. So they're into solitary, basically. So when you're talking about they go into isolation, so they go into a place where they're not mingling with any other students, and they're having to sit and work quietly on their own all day. I mean, I had it with when Emmy was at school, and I went fucking ballistic when she told me that she texted me and said I've been put in isolation and for my coach, not regulation. And so, and I went down and I went fucking ballistic, and I took her out and I said, "You're never putting her in isolation again." So it's like a prison. It's like you're a prison, and you're in here and you're going from class to class, and it's all regimented. You're doing like we under threat of punishment, which has been taken away to a large extent, but still.
Yeah.
Many kids will adhere to that because their parents expect them to adhere to the rules of the school, and they don't want to get into trouble. And but it's gone to a prison. So you've done some minor infraction, like having the wrong coat on, or the wrong shoes, or the wrong hairstyle.
Yeah.
Kids who've had the wrong hairstyle have been put in isolation, and it's like you're going. You've got a month in hole, as they used to say, and
Yeah.
to a kid, a day in isolation would be like a month in hole to a prisoner.
Yeah.
Who's serving multiple 10, 15 years. So it's the same thing, only on a smaller scale. So again, then it's compliance. You have to comply. Your parents comply because they don't want the hassle. They don't want the hassle having to go down to school, at school saying, well, we have this policy. It's the school's policy. It's been Ofsted have approved it, and it's approved, and this is all we allow, and we don't allow any deviations from this. And if anybody does that, then they're put in isolation. Well, I mean, for me, they were never doing that with Emmy. Never again. She got put in once, and I went up and I got her out. I didn't, and I said she's never going in again. If you ever want to put her in there, you phone me first, and I'll come and get her, because she's not going into isolation. And it's just a ridiculous. I mean, Emmy's left school now. God, she's 22. She's 22. She was 22 this year. So she's 22. So I'm talking a few years ago. So I think she must have been about 14 or 15. And they got this lockdown thing that popped up on all the screens. It's in lockdown. Everyone had to get under desk, under tables for lockdown. And this is if she's 22, it must be 8 years ago now.
Mm.
That this were happening. And they were... this lockdown, it's just fear. So you put into fear. Oh my God, there's someone coming and they're going to kill us. So you've got to get under the table, even though that's never happened in a school. Well, apart from Dunblane, which we could get into, but we had a guy who was going to come on our show, and sadly, in the intervening period between us booking him and the appearance, he died mysteriously in the middle of it. So. And we were going to be talking about Dunblane, but Dunblane, if you take Dunblane out of the equation, I mean, that's one time in how long? And yet they're doing these lockdowns. It's almost as like you've got to be fearful of everything, every single thing. Fear it. Don't confront it. Don't run away and hide. Go to the safe space. There's a safe. If somebody's saying something to you that you don't like, go into the safe space, and they're not allowed in there. But in the safe space, they'll be probably fucking bitching and fucking arguing with each other about different shit anyway in safe space. It's just gone all pansy, all fucking ridiculous. Let's fucking all, it's hope, not hate. Well, fuck off, it's hope, not hate. It's hate. Those people hate. But they put this word, they hate, they absolutely hate anybody that doesn't agree with them and will use violence against them.
It's like
chuck milkshakes on them as if they're fucking coming on them. No, it's just fucking.
And anti-fascist, and they're the most fascistic people. They do the most fascistic things there are to do,
and the
yet they're
fascists
supposed to
as
be
well.
Antifa. You what? Sorry.
And the fascists.
Yeah.
Antifa, fucking hell. God, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Because everything's the opposite, because opposites distract. Hey.
Hey. Listen, we've had Taylor asking if he could come on. I've just popped in the chat room. It's a bit late tonight, so we'll get him on again in the near future when, you know.
Do you know what I like about him?
Yeah. He's hang on. Let me just have a guess. His big white flabby arse.
No.
Okay. I've got no else.
He's clearly switched on. Because of his, and I'm jealous, relatively young age. It's mixed with a naivety of an unknown that he's willing to explore. And if you explain something to him that he's not come across before, he doesn't go, "Oh, that can't be right." He goes, "Oh." And it sets him thinking. That's what I like about him.
Well, listen, he learned everything he knows of from us.
Fucking hell, God help him. Fuck me.
No, we'll definitely have him on again in the near future. But like I said, if it looks like we're going for 2 hours, so we've got about 10 minutes left, just to sort of fill in. What there were some. Let's have a look. What's going on in? There was something that I'd seen, and I thought, oh my god, that's really, really weird. Oh, what was that one? No,
I caught someone in the chat room earlier as well. Anyway, look, just for me, the big key is money and realizing what it is, what it isn't, how it comes to being, and who benefits, because it's not me or you. That's the big thing for me, and that's why I put those links in the chat room earlier. And if you flick up to the top, they'll come up. But if you can't remember what they were, there's Money as Debt on YouTube, and the first chapter of the audio book of The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. And the other one was, hang on, there was another one. My mate Paul, who's probably listening, he'll tell me, because I sent him the Money Masters. That's about 3 hours and 20 minutes, that one. That's a really good one to watch because it kind of goes back just about far enough, which is kind of just before Oliver Cromwell and all that. It kind of gives you a really good basic understanding of how it all came into being. So watch those three. There's your own work.
Well, you know what? I think it's important because when this all first started for me, anyway, there were a lot of really good documentaries out there that perhaps now I wouldn't agree with a lot of the stuff that they got, but it was still worthwhile to watch them, and I think people should go back and have a look. I think there's a there's a website called 911documentaries.com or something like that, and it's got tons of 9/11 document because there's so much on 9/11 and so much good stuff from back then. Anybody wants to watch, just have a look back, have a look what was making the.
I'll tell you another one which give you really good basic stuff.
Check out some of the old forums on the Wayback Machine, 911, 911.co.uk, I think, or 911movement.co.uk, and look at them. They're probably not there now, but if you look them on the Wayback Machine, you'll see lots of different things that were so many things that you wouldn't have even thought of, or you wouldn't never know about, but because of the wave of information, it's sort of got put to the bottom of the pile, and now, because many people are waking up to this and coming up to speed, getting up to speed, they're missing a lot of the detail that was that were there before, in the earlier days. And I think that's important to have a look back at them.
And some of the early Freeman stuff as well. Who's the Canadian guy? Bob. Always
Robert Menard.
Yeah, Rob Menard. And I tell you what, the John Harris one, there was a couple of 2 or 3 different versions of it, but it was basically the same talk of it's an illusion. Some of that does go into the free man on the land stuff, and I feel that was probably good grounding, but stuff's come a lot further than that now. We've learned a lot more about the system since then.
But it's good to go back, because the details are overlooked.
Yeah.
There's details that you might find in there that's overlooked, that's not in another video, and then you think to yourself, well, actually, this video, now that I've got that bit of information, these 2 bits of information linked together.
Click together, exactly right, yeah.
And I know how it works. So it is good to go back to see all these. I mean, John Harris, he did a load of good stuff. A lot of. They were entertaining. I don't know anything about John Harris. I know he apparently committed suicide. And I think it all got to him a little bit. I don't know. Again, I'm not. I'm talking to somebody from the outside looking in. There's also people that are convinced he's still alive and that he'd found a solution and made a deal and gone away, and been persuaded to take on a new identity. I don't know. I mean, this world is this conspiracy world that we're in. I mean, there's all sorts of different ones, isn't there? There's all sorts of different stories, and some are good, but it's good to get them all, because it doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what you think about. I mean, if you watch a video of somebody from back in the, say you watch a Dean Clifford video, remember Dean Clifford?
Yeah.
Watch some Dean Clifford videos. He disappeared from TV. It doesn't matter what you think about it, but watch them anyway, because the information in there might be something in there that's there, and for you, and you can grasp it. But also remember not to take everything that people are saying as gospel, and just have a look for yourself. But do take in a lot of this old stuff. I might get a list one day. I might do a video and sort of like do a countdown of the 10 old conspiracy videos that you should watch. But there's tons. I mean, everybody's got to learn. So that was one of the first ones. 9/11. Everyone's got to learn sometime, and he had that song in it. That were a really good 9/11 video.
The corgis. Everybody's got to learn sometime. Wasn't that the corgis?
I don't know. That was that song were in it, and I think that's what it was called. Everyone's got to learn sometime. I remember that song being prominent in it, and it's a documentary length, sort of 2 hours long. 9/11 documentary. You'll have to excuse some of the naughtiest clothes that they were wearing, because back in them days, we had a different fashion to what you've got now. So there's plenty. I would encourage anybody to have a look. Even look through Alex Jones's back catalogue. Terror Storm, and what else did he do? The Obama deception. But Alex Jones did. Just have a look through them. It doesn't matter what you think about these people. Just have a look through. There might be some information in there. There might be something that links something for you, that makes something click, that makes sense when it's married to another piece of information that you've heard. So I really would encourage that.
Yeah. What was the the David Wynn Miller stuff? I mean, there's hours. I think one of the lectures that Dave Wynn Miller did was about 10.5 hours long. And I think there's about 9.5 of it exists on YouTube. If you can bear to sit through it, and I've probably sat through it, I don't know, a dozen times now. It's quite sad, really, isn't it? Some of it is really complicated. And when I first watched it, I thought, this guy is either the most intelligent man in the world or he's the craziest guy in the world. But all the way through, there are little things that he says, and you go, oh, that's where that comes from. Oh, that's where that comes from. Bloody hell, I never realised that come from there. God, yeah, that makes sense. And there's a lot of stuff that he comes out with in that 9.5, 10-hour lecture that ties a lot of other stuff up that we've seen about courts and ownership of things and et cetera, et cetera. So it doesn't matter what you watch, because you will pick up stuff from almost anywhere. So, don't just watch the shit that I suggest. Watch other stuff. And then when you've watched it, put a link in the chat room so that other people can watch it. That's, that's sharing is caring, apparently. Anyway, I think we're done, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we are, mate.
I'm just trying to work out if it was the corgis or not.
Well, I don't know. I'm just writing down just so that I've got this.
What are you writing down?
I'm just writing these names down.
It's the corgis. Sorry.
Yeah. We're
Brenda's got, or what we call a barrel. No, not them corgis. This was KORGIS corgis.
Anyway. Oh, right, okay. Right. Anyway, I think we're done.
Yeah, we're done. So lovely to see you. And
you, mate. And you. And we'll be back for Raconteurs After Dark on Friday, will we?
Yeah, I'm up for that, brother. Yeah. I've still got a banging headache from all that shit they put in my eyes and glared at me today, but I'll be all right. But then, yeah.
Awesome. So we'll be back. Thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to everyone in the chat room. Another big thanks to John Hull for doing the write-ups. I will be putting them up, I promise you, as soon as I get a pain-free hour. I'll be putting them up, or after me, definitely, Lord, please don't think that they're going unnoticed. Thanks to everyone in the chat room, and Super Leads and Uni. We'll get you on very soon. Monday, Friday, we're going to do After Dark. Be about 9:30, I would imagine.
As soon as Danielle goes to bed, basically, innit?
Yeah, I mean, God, yesterday we didn't do a show when she went to bed at 8. Tonight she's gone at bleeding 8 again. So she's a bit burnt out, I think.
I'll see you at 8 o'clock on Friday then.
Yeah, and then on Monday we've got Jonathan Royal, the star and I believe the creator of Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, which is a new film that's coming out in September. It looks really good. Have a look for the trailer on YouTube. It looks really smashing. So. That's it for tonight. Thanks very much for joining us and sitting through just us droning on, basically, and more of it on Friday night at 9:30ish.
Yeah.
So, take it easy. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good one. See you later.